I'm Austin, the blind editor, and today we're going to go over how you can warp stabilize a clip that you have changed the speed of. Whether you've slowed it down or sped it up, I'm going to show you how you can apply a warp stabilizer to give it that nice smooth motion. So inside of Premiere Pro, I just have a few clips from a recent real estate video that I did, and this is just the raw footage as it was when it was brought to me. And if you check out this clip, it's a little wobbly. You can see kind of the steps on it, and it doesn't look the smoothest. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to speed this clip up to get into the door quicker, but I also wanted to stabilize it a little bit. So as you might know, you can't use warp stabilizer on a clip that you've sped up or slowed down, or maybe you've even reversed it. But the way to get around that, I'm going to show you today. So I went ahead and I sped up this clip just now. And then what I'm going to do to apply the warp stabilizer after I know that this is the speed that I want, I honestly feel like it could probably go a little faster. So maybe I do 180. And so just speed this up. Maybe I actually start the clip there, then the door opens, and that's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it right about there, and then I'm going to right click on my clip. I'm going to go to nest. I'm going to hit OK, create my nested sequence there. Then I'm going to go over to my effects control panel, or to my effects panel rather, and then get the warp stabilizer. And so you can just type in warp and then grab your warp stabilizer, and now you can drag that onto your clip, and you'll see that it's going to go through its little process, and it's going to go through and stabilize all your stuff. And if you've used warp stabilizer in the past, you know that it kind of crops your footage in so that it can stabilize the edges, and so there's no black on the edge of your stuff. And if you're okay with that, if you shot it real tight, it may not work, but if you're okay with that little bit of a crop factor, this usually pays off pretty well. There's only been a handful of times where I've tried to warp stabilize something and it hasn't done too well for me. But very easy things to stabilize are footsteps that you can see in the video, or if it's just a little bit of shake and you want it to be kind of silky smooth, warp stabilizer should do the trick for you. So I'm going to let this finish up and we'll come back and see what the results are. Okay, so that didn't take too long. It probably took about, I don't know, 2 minutes maybe. The longer your clip is, the longer it's going to take. So if you do it on shorter clips, it'll be a lot faster. And you do have to render these to kind of see it played out right. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. So again, it took a little bit of render time. Maybe 30 seconds for this clip, but you can already see that the results are so much better than what they were before. And so another way that you could use this, maybe you're not speeding things up or slowing things down, but maybe you're reversing a shot. You know, maybe you're an editor and you have a clip. Let me just go through my video here real quick. Maybe you have a clip that it's a pan, or it's a move in and you want it to be a move out. You can reverse that clip, but it's the same thing as, this is a good clip here. So let's check it out. Let's go back here just a little bit. Maybe I don't want him going around this way, but rather I want it to go around the other way. For whatever reason, this is just an example. You know, it does have a little bit of that footstep that you can see in there, but I like the move overall. So what I would do is I would go in here to the speed and duration, just like you were if you were speeding things up, and you would come up here to the dialog box, and then you would say reverse, or you could type in -100, or if you were looking to slow it down, you could type in -80, or something like that. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit -100. You can see it flip my shot around, so now it's going backwards. And it can look a little wonky sometimes, especially if you don't render it. But let me show you what happens. If I were to just do that and then try to put warp stabilizer on there. It brings up this message and it says, hey, warp stabilizer can't be on here. Fix by nesting. It tells you, right there. So go ahead, nest that, do warp stabilizer, put that on there. We'll come back after this is done stabilizing. That's done stabilizing now, and I went ahead and rendered it just to save a little time in this video. So this is what we have now, that we've reversed it and we've put the warp stabilizer on there. It looks really nice and smooth. It looks a lot better. So one last thing that I'll leave you with is that you can go into a nested sequence and you can expand your clip if you need to. But the thing with that is, once you do that and you expand it over here, you're going to get a little dialog box that says, hey, I need to analyze these new clips or these new frames. You've added new frames and we haven't stabilized that. So what I would recommend is try to get all of your stuff the way that you want before you nest it, before you stabilize it. It'll save you time later with rendering and stabilizing, and it'll just make your workflow a lot easier. So if you like this video, please check out some of my others. You can also follow me on Instagram at The Blind Editor. Check out my website, theblindeditor.com, to see some of my work and to see what I do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.